Hey, I'm Tristan from the band Morning Sun, and today I'm going to teach you how to play our song, Vacation. The tuning for this song is E standard. The first section that we're going to take a look at revolves around two alternating chords played in a rhythmic sequence just to support the piano intro. This section is used as support for the piano instead of the guitars taking the forefront like they will later in the song. Let's take a look at what that section sounds like up to speed. Let's take a look at the first chord in this sequence. We're going to start off by placing our pinky finger on the 7th fret of the B string, ring finger on the 7th fret of the G string, our index finger on the 5th fret of the D string, and our middle finger on the 7th fret of the A string. That chord sounds like this. This section starts off with a few palm muted strokes just for rhythmic accentuation, and it's going to go like this. So, fast, that sounds like this. And then we're going to do that exact rhythmic notation. We're just going to switch the chord. And the chord shape is actually the exact same as the first chord shape. You just move everything up one string. So we're going to place our pinky on the 7th fret of the G string, our ring finger on the 7th fret of the D string, our index finger on the 5th fret of the A string, and our middle finger on the 7th fret of the E string. So altogether, this section is going to sound like this. And so on. To get that palm muted technique, I'm not muting so much with my left hand as I am my right, by placing my hands tightly and pressing down pretty hard on, like, near the bridge, right behind my bridge pickup. So I do use my left hand to get it a little bit more staccato, but that's pretty much what I'm doing for that muting. I'm not actually letting those notes come through whenever I palm mute. I'm not pressing down with my left hand to get those notes out. I just want the muted strings. Let's move on to the next section. For this part, we're going to be working our way through a set of chords and just arpeggiate them from the lowest string to the highest string. And we're going to play every chord that we change to. We're going to play the A string, the D string, G string, and then B string in that order. So the first chord that we're going to play is going to start with your ring finger on the, your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. Then we're going to have an open D string, your ring finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, and your pinky on the 2nd fret of the B string. And for the next chord, you literally don't have to hold any strings down at all. It's just the A, D, G, and B strings open. For the next chord, we're going to move up to the 5th fret, and we're going to play with our index finger the 5th fret on the A string. Then we're going to play the 7th fret of the D string with our ring finger. Our middle finger is going to be playing the 6th fret of the G string. And then we're barring this chord. So we're going to be able to hit the 5th fret of the B string with our index finger as well. And then we're going to move to this chord. And that's pretty much the same shape as this chord, but we're going to continue to bar with our index finger, and we're going to lift our middle finger off of this note, and we're just going to slide that shape down to the 2nd fret. So we're going to play the 2nd fret on the A string with our index finger and bar all the way through to the B string, and then take your ring finger and put that on the 4th fret of the D string. So and then we are going to play the 2nd fret of the B string with our index finger and do a hammer-on onto the 3rd fret of the B string and pull back off to 2 on the B string. And then we are going to play the 4th fret of the G string with our ring finger and then play the 2nd fret of the B string again while the 4th fret of the G string rings out. So altogether this section should sound like this. And you do that twice through, and then it moves into the next section of the song. So this is what the next section sounds like up to speed. This is the section of the song that I would consider the chorus, if there was one. Essentially, it's a few chords, 3 chords to be precise, layered behind a main lead lick. And so we're going to take a look at the chords first, and then we are going to look at the lead section. So for the first chord, we're going to play the 2nd fret of the A string, open D, the 2nd fret of the G string, and the 2nd fret of the B string. And then we are going to lift up our pinky and ring fingers and still hold the 2nd fret of the A string with our middle finger, and we're going to strum the A, D, B, and G out of order for some reason. And then we're going to play the first chord again. And then we are going to slide our pinky up to the 3rd fret on the B string. So altogether, this sounds like this. That's pretty much it for the rhythm part in the chorus. Let's take a look at the lead. To start the lead section, we're going to play 10 on the E string, pull off to 9. Then we're going to play 10 on the B string, 9 on the E string again, 10 on the B string, 9 on the B string. Then we're going to use our ring finger to play 11 on the G string, 9 on the B string again, 11 on the G string. Then we're going to play 9 on the B string and hammer on to 10. So all together. And it's very important to let those notes ring together as much as possible. That's why we want to use our ring finger to play 11 on the G string. That way we can make sure to arch our finger enough to let the 9 on the B string ring out simultaneously. The second part of this lead is pretty much the same as the first part, except for the ending. We're going to hammer on to a different note. So instead of ending here, we're going to end here. Usually when I play this, I will, instead of using my ring finger to play 11 on the G string, this time I'll use my middle finger to play 11 on the G string. So that way I can use my ring finger, which is more powerful than my pinky, to hammer on to 12 on the B string. So the only thing that changes is instead of that ending hammer being on 10 on the B string, it's on 12 on the B string. And that's the entire lead for the chorus. You'll play that 2 times through, and then it'll move into the next section where there's a bass solo, and then it picks up and goes back into the verse section, which is this part. It does that whole thing. Then it plays a chord, which is pitch shifted down, now that I remember. I put an effect on it that you won't really be able to do. So live we're going to use a backing track to accomplish that chord shifting down through, many semitones. And then after that chord, it goes into an ending harmony section where there's a harmony layered over the lead section that we just went through. So keep that in mind, because instead of showing you that lead section again and then the harmony, I'm just going to teach you the harmony, and I want you to know that the other guitar is doing the lead that we just talked about. So let's look at the ending harmony section. For the ending harmony, it's going to rhythmically follow the exact same pattern as this part, but the notes of course change. For this part, we are going to play 14 on the E and pull off the 12 on the E. Then we're going to play 14 on the B and 12 on the E again. 14 on the B, 12 on the B, then use our middle finger to play 14 on the G, 12 on the B, 14 on the G, then we're going to play 12 on the B and hammer on to 14 on the B. Then we're going to repeat all of that again, but instead of hammering on to the 14, we're going to hammer on to the 15 on B. So altogether, this part should sound like this. And it'll do that twice, and then we will end on a chord that is very familiar because this song is pretty repetitive, and this is what that chord is. So as you've probably figured out, that chord is the same chord that we used in the verse progression. It was the first chord in the sequence. But just to reiterate, that would be 2 on the A string with your middle finger, open D string, 2 on the G string with your ring finger, and 3 on the B string with your pinky. I hope that this lesson has been informative, but if you have any other questions that maybe I didn't get to or that I need to clarify on, feel free to drop by our Facebook page, which will be in the description. I'll leave a link for you to click and easily access our message box. Or you can just leave a comment on YouTube. I'll be checking both pretty regularly. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next tutorial video.